You had a major turning point in your life when you were young, and it changed the course of your life, and it really put you on the path that you're on. What happened?
Well, when I was younger, my father went bankrupt and abandoned the family, and so my mother, and my younger brother, we were in poverty without a house or transportation or anything, living on a few dollars a day, and that really changed the course of my life. And that today, when I look back on my days struggling in poverty, I'm full of gratitude because they gave me so many incredible lessons. Of course, it gave me fire in my belly, but it gave me a sense of what am I here on earth for, and what is the meaning of everything. It just made me question life, and at the end of the day, I just remember thinking to myself that I want to be able to take care of my mother and be able to put food on the table. But at the same time, I remember thinking that all the material things in the world, it doesn't make a life. So much of what we're taught younger is go to good school, get a job, get a mortgage, get a house, and then suddenly you're living your life in a job you don't really like to buy material things to impress people you don't really care about. And so there's a little bit of a little bit of meaningless to society, and so that really taught me a lot. My days in poverty, and again, it gave me so much gratitude for every blessing. And I remember thinking, living at $4 a day in the U.S. Um, wow, I'm so lucky, because if I only had $2, then I definitely wouldn't be able to make it.
You're so driven. For those in the room who are wondering, how do you manage employees that maybe haven't found their why, that aren't that driven? What advice would you give? Because it's not easy, because it's so natural to you. Can they cultivate it?
Every human being can find his or her purpose and passion, and to answer your question, why. But it requires a lot of introspection. It requires a lot of self-reflection and intellectual honesty. I recommend everybody go out, to a park by yourself or a beach for a few days and reflect on all the things you love in life. So I always tell my friends, like, who are lost in life, get a piece of paper, and on one side of the paper, you write everything you love about life, everything. And it doesn't matter. It can be anything, your dog, it can be anything. And then on the other side of a piece of paper, you write everything you're good at, and be very intellectually honest. I mean, we all have strengths and weaknesses, right? No one is good at everything. Write down what you're good at. And in the intersection of something you truly, truly love and something you're truly, truly good at, you will start to find a path. Doesn't mean you're going to find your why, but you start to find a path. And for me, I'm a lifelong martial artist, and martial arts has been always my greatest passion in life ever since I was a kid. And I, still to this day, 38 years later, train. Ever since I was 13 years old, when I started Muay Thai. I've been doing it now for 38 years straight, and I picked up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for the last 16 years. Martial arts is my greatest passion. But what is my why? My why is, I want to unleash greatness in the world through the power of martial arts, through our heroes that won, through our values of martial arts: integrity, humility, honor, respect, courage, discipline, compassion. And I want to tell stories that inspire humanity to dream more, do more, and be more in life. And I had to find this along the path before I started one. And once I found it, one really reinforced it. When I saw our heroes overcome tragedy, poverty, adversity, and we're telling their stories and we're celebrating their values that every family can celebrate with their kids, wholesome values, that, again, integrity, humility, honor, courage, compassion, things like that you could teach your kids. And then the numbers at one just exploded. I mean, I never thought in a million years we would be top 5 in the world, according to Nielsen, in terms of TV viewerships, digital viewership, and social media viewership and engagement. Um, I knew we were growing astronomically, but until Nielsen came out with that industry report of the top 10 largest sports properties, we had no idea where we ranked. Our numbers have just been growing exponentially all over the world, and it's kind of crazy, actually.
It is crazy, and I should say congratulations on your new deal with Channel 7 in Australia. So you can watch one's events right here on 7 Plus. You can also go back and look at highlights of previous events. Now, this is the really successful time for your company. You're about to have a debut event in the US, but you left a really highly paid job in finance and you had security in that and you left to do this. What would you say to someone in this room that doesn't want to leave that security behind to just go forth and try and make their big idea happen?
Right. So, I was on Wall Street prior to one, I was on Wall Street for 10 years because I thought the answer to all my problems was money. Because I came from a poor background, I was ashamed. When I went to Harvard, I was the poorest kid by far. Again, my mom living with me in my dorm room, against, even the administration didn't know. And so I thought just make a lot of money. And I owned a $500 million global hedge fund when I was on Wall Street. And I was making a lot of money. And then one day I went to a sushi restaurant after a record year. And I started thinking about all the material things I was going to buy. And I started thinking about, is this my life? Just buying more houses and cars and watches or whatever it is. And I remember breaking out into a cold sweat because I was, alone at the sushi restaurant, eating at the sushi bar. And uh, I don't know, I just felt like this can't be the meaning of life. It just can't. We all can sleep in one bed. We all need to drive one car. We don't need you only need one watch. You don't really need material things. But somehow I had got sucked into society's definition of success, and it wasn't intrinsic to my definition. And so I started thinking, searching deeply again, going through that whole introspection thing. And I said, I'm going to go live my greatest passion, my greatest love. And yes, my friends and family thought I was stupid and crazy for leaving, you know, my own firm and something that I built from ground zero to go chase another dream. When all I had to do was keep growing my global hedge fund, and I'd have a billion, 2 billion, 5 billion, whatever under management, and then it'd just be, just keep growing. But I felt very empty. I really felt something was missing in my heart. And I know it sounds, oh man, but it's because you already had everything. No, it's not. It doesn't matter whether you have material things. It doesn't matter if you have money in your bank account. It doesn't matter if you have a house. Um, some of the happiest days of my life literally were eating one meal a day with my mother, on the floor, because everything was so pure and so honest with my entire life. All my relationships, no one liked me except, because I was poor. I had nothing to offer. So there's a purity and honesty and innocence to those days, versus, when you're a little bit more successful, things change. People want your time for not necessarily for you, or whether they really like you, but for different motives, right? And I'm not saying that success is a bad thing. It's not at all. But it's I climbed to the top of the wrong mountain in Wall Street for me. Now there are people who love investing, who love investing in companies and all that stuff, and that may be their why. So I'm not taking it away. What I'm saying is I had to find my why, and I don't think if I hadn't gone through my days in poverty, if I hadn't lived my life as a martial artist, as a student, as a fighter, as a coach, as a teacher, and then now as a CEO, and if I hadn't had that epiphany, I wouldn't be where I am today for sure. And so you have to take a risk, but it has to be a smart risk. And when I took this risk, I looked at the global landscape and I said, look, every region of the world has several multi-billion-dollar sports properties. North America has NFL, Major League Baseball, ML, NBA, etc. Europe has Champions League, EPL, F1, and whatnot. Asia at the time had literally nothing. So I said, look, there's 4.2 billion people here in Asia. There's a 5,000-year history. The birthplace of martial arts is in Asia. I'm a lifelong martial artist. I said, I'm going to unite 4.2 billion people first, and then I'm going to unite the entire 8 billion people on the globe around heroes, values, heroes, and stories of martial arts. So martial arts is the genre, but actually our platform is humanity. We want to celebrate values, heroes, and stories for every human being, whether you do martial arts or not. And all of that, again, would not have happened if I hadn't had that epiphany of, hey, man, I don't want to live life on society's terms. I want to live life on my terms. And the best way to do it is just everyone imagine yourself when you're 80 or 90 years old on your deathbed and it's your last day. It's your last day, the very last day. And you'll find out if you really think deeply about that concept for the next 3-4 days, there are two things that come to mind at the end of the day. The only thing that matters in life is the love you share with your loved ones, your family, your friends, etc. And the impact you make on the world, whether it's your community, whether it's your country, or if you're lucky, the entire world. Everything else, how many cars, how much money you have, none of that means anything. None of it. You're gone. So for me, I had that epiphany earlier in my life, and it just compounded. And as a result, I'm living the life of my dreams. I never imagined that I'd be doing every day what I love 24/7, making a huge impact in the world. We're now in 179 countries around the world. Our broadcast numbers are, top 5, top 10, depending on which metric you look at. And we genuinely have fans who go crazy, go absolutely crazy for our heroes. And I have tons of messages every day on my social media of fans saying, I had stage 4 cancer and I saw one of your heroes, Stan Fairtex, and her life story inspired me. I decided to fight, and now today I'm cancer free. We've had domestic violence, a woman who said, my husband beat me up and I finally had the courage to leave. And it was because I saw Angela Lee's, courage in the cage. We've had so many incredible stories from our fans. And that for me is priceless. Those are the kind of things that, move me. It's not houses or cars or money. It's the impact that I see that one is truly inspiring the world. I'd rather risk living my dream than be guaranteed success by, society or externalities, whatever you want to call it. I wanted to live my life.
Chatri, we're out of time. Thank you for sharing the low points as well, because a lot of the time I don't think we get to hear this stuff. It's like you could drop a pin in this room. There hasn't been a word since you started speaking. You've compelled the room, even though you're beaming in. A big round of applause, please, for Chatri.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.